Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon Wound Pickups.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are very excited that you are listening to our show with us. If it's your first time, this is very exciting, even more so. And if it's your 150th time, it's even more exciting, even more so. So thank you for your listenership and your continued listenership. I've covered all the bases. Tony, what do we do on the show?
We like to talk about gear, specifically boutique gear. Even more specifically, the makers and shakers of boutique gear. And that would be things like guitars and amplifiers and pedals and pedal boards and
guitar
pickups
cords
and straps and strings.
So all the things.
All the things.
And we have somebody that fits at least one of those things tonight in a different way, everybody.
But wait, don't we also do 101s, which Jared really likes?
We do.
I love 101s.
We're due for another one, actually. We need to get one of those going. Let's talk to the person on the... Well, it's not really a phone. Who's on the show tonight? Person?
My person name is Andy, and my non-person name is Pedalboard of the Day.
Oh, excellent.
Hey!
Andy from Pedalboard of the Day, from the great Instagram channel. That's right. He's not, we don't have him on as a builder. We don't have him on as a maker, but he is a curator. That's what he does. So he's got one of the most popular guitar-based channels out there, and I know that we've all seen the posts on his channel. You currently have about 130,000 followers. Mm-hmm. That's about 129,000 followers more than we. If you want to let us borrow some of them, that'd be great. I don't know. I don't understand the crossovers. Hey, all the followers who follow him, we're doing this. We got stuff too, man. Come on. So, Andy's got 2,000 posts. That also helps. So,
that helps too.
It's a great channel. And so, aside from just having a channel, he's got some knowledge about this stuff. And this is what we're going to talk to him about, because he's got his finger on the pulse, on the bead. What's going on in the world that's moving and shaking in the pedal world and stuff, baby. But first, before we put him through the stretcher,
Ringer.
We're going to get... I said stretcher. You say ringer.
Essentially the same thing.
Yes. Through the motions, we're going to just do a quick. Actually, go to Pedalboard of the Day on Instagram and just get familiar while we go through our announcements. Okay, just do that, people. We got a couple people to thank. Number one, Rode mics. Thank you so much, Rode, for providing the Rodecaster Pro, this beautiful machine that we have, and the Procaster mics, which is one of my best friends now. So I haven't given him a name though. We should have names for our mics, don't you think? We
should have Mike 1, Mike 2.
It's just Mike. They're all named Mike. That was stupid. So we want to say a big giant thank you for that. I also wanted to mention that we got a fun patron 4 on the floor from Jonathan Schwartz. He's actually an Ohioan, not too far. He lives out by Chase, actually. Yeah, Chase Gullett. So his 4 on the floor is the Catalan bred Naga Viper. That's like the 4th time that's been on. I don't know what's up with that, but it's true. It's right there. He's saying it. He says a Rangemaster style treble boost. Yeah. He also has the Catalan bred Super Chili Picoso MK2 boost. It's a MOSFET, very MOSFET style clean boost. I'm not familiar with that pedal. Also, the JHS Cheeseball Fuzz, which he says is an exact clone of the Love Tone Big Cheese Fuzz. That's kind of weird to have an exact clone and name it the exact same thing, but whatever. Hey. Josh is he's doing something right. And also the Dunlop Echoplex. I don't know if you guys have heard that. But,
Yes, I have.
Yes, that's a recent pedal version of the Echoplex. So that is 4 pretty cool pedals. I'm gonna have to check out that Naga Viper now because this is, I like a treble boost. I actually am using one on my board right now, which is the Moonshot from Greer. So
Or you could just play a Strat.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that, Tony.
Strats are the best.
Yes.
Oh man. Oh boy. So anyways, all right, let's get into some what's going on in our music worlds this week. Tony is going to lead us off, and then we'll check in with our pal Andy over here.
So this week, I have been reading the Gibson PAF humbucking pickup from Myth to Reality book by Mario Milan and James Finnerty. And I hooked up with James through a mutual customer. I needed to get some information. I guess James is going to do some wiring for a guitar project. And I noticed in his email back to me that he was co-author of this book. So I went to my favorite bookstore, Amazon, and found it for a very fair price and ordered it. And it is if you want to get into the weeds about pickups and specifically PAF pickups, this is a book for you. The photographs in it, there's more detail in here than I've seen just about anywhere. But the one thing, there's a couple of things that I've learned so far. One, I don't know how any pickup maker can make a clone of a PAF because according to everything that I've read so far, the inconsistencies at Gibson, whether it's the wire, whether it's the bobbins, whether it's the magnets, they've switched things all over the place. So just out of the gate, no 2 Gibson pickups should probably sound alike based on all of this. But I found that kind of interesting. I guess you can, I know as Jared does and a few other makers, they go through and try to replicate probably the best possible reference pickup. But it's just amazing to me how inconsistent. And when you think about the scale that Gibson was using at the time too, in terms of number of units produced, it's just amazes me. But I did run across something very interesting in the book, and we've talked about it on the show before, in terms of Alnico, the type of magnet material, and usually it's Alnico followed by a number, and the number generally represents the percentage of cobalt in the mix. So it's an aluminum, nickel, and cobalt mixture. So, based on that information, how much cobalt is in an Alnico 3 magnet? Take a wild guess.
Am I expected to guess?
Just guess.
How much? Like,
What percentage?
oh, how much percentage? 5%.
Okay, Jared,
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to ruin the thing.
do you know it?
Oh,
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Andy?
I'm going to guess like 0.9%, something silly.
Well, you're closest because according to what I've read so far, Alnico 3 has no cobalt in it. Because it was produced in the early 1950s during the Korean War, and cobalt was a war mineral, so
Yep.
they couldn't use it. So all the people that think that they've got a certain amount of cobalt in Alnico 3 pickups and our magnets, they are greatly mistaken.
You do realize even with that fact, they probably won't believe it.
These ones sound so good, man.
It must be the cobalt.
Yeah.
I think they doubled the cobalt on that one. But it's really actually a very good. It's an easy read. It gets a little technical at points, but I would recommend it for anybody that is interested in finding out a lot of information on many different. He goes into other types of Gibson pickups, but it's specifically
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Just learning stuff is great, man. Knowledge is amazing, and when you're like, "Wow, I knew that, and I didn't know that before." I know that now. That's great.
There you go.
Because of the fact that there's really no dead-on spec, it just makes it easier for all of us to make our own version.
True.
And that's why, we get to do our own flavors and I don't know, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I do a lot more than just that thing, but I am known for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, James is a good friend of mine. He's a good dude.
You have
he
good
seems like
flavors,
a really good guy.
Jared.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
All right, let's go over to Andy and find out what's going on in his musical world this week.
I got a strange notice from Spotify that I was in the top 100 listeners of CCR, which was, it's like, am I listening to that much CCR or does nobody listen to CCR? And I'm really curious what's going on there.
John
is
Fogerty is going to be so
From
happy.
the man himself, man.
that is strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
Strange.
I just recently not recently. It's about a good year I've been in like this CCR phase, and it's just something like CCR. I feel like everyone knows their tunes, but then I just started listening to them regularly, and then I get these like weird things when I get into band. I have to like research just about everything about them,
Yeah.
and then I didn't realize like John Fogerty literally wrote almost the entire discography that wasn't cover songs, which is really insane because when you think about how many hits they have. It's just bizarre. And then the other thing is apparently they don't even have that many number one hits. So like they have so many songs that people know that are incredibly famous, and they don't have. I think they don't even have any number one hits on any charts, if I'm not mistaken, which is like really really odd.
That is bizarre. Yeah, that's like my band.
Yeah, just like it.
Everyone knows your band, but everyone knows the songs. They just don't know what band they're from.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's kind of fun. You should make a T-shirt out of that. I'm in the top 100.
That's hilarious.
I can see that.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, I don't know, I've been playing guitar for like 15 years, and I have 5 guitars, and they're all in standard tuning. So, I find that's kind of like, it sounds a bit insane, but I don't know if you know Ian Pritchard. He has like the YouTube channel, A Collector Emitter.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so he's like, I was just asking for some tunings on a chat we have, and he's like, try EABE. And so now I've been noodling around with that, and that's actually, it was a bit refreshing. It's kind of it's like wandering in the woods, but you kind of make your way, and it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Is that like kind of dark sounding?
Actually, it's kind of happy sounding, but not. How can I say
So
it? It's like,
is that kind of happy sounding?
yeah.
Yeah, by dark he means happy.
It's a running thing I do on this show. I don't know.
It kind of you know what it kind of sounds like. You know when you ever listen to like Joe's. Okay, this is weird because I have like a really wide range of like rock palette. But if you ever listen to like Joe Satriani played like some of his slower stuff, it kind of always sounds like it's in that mode,
Interesting.
which is really strange.
Yeah.
At least for me, because I'm just used to playing like an E standard
Yeah.
or E flat if I'm wild.
Jared, how about yourself, buddy?
It's been a pretty good week. It's been pretty productive. I finally got Zach back in the mix.
Oh, that's great.
Here back at work, and so everything's safe, and we're getting a lot of things done, and finally getting some orders filled. I did have a customer I sent a really expensive limited run set of pickups to, and he had some feedback problems, and I said, well, those aren't potted because they're my PAF clones, and so he sent the bridge back, and I potted it for him, and I sent it back, and he's having the same problems, and it's only when he uses his pedals.
Interesting.
So I said, yeah, and he said, man,
Maybe you should pot the pedals.
Right. So I'm like, maybe, he's like, man, I think I just want a refund. I said, yeah, that's fine. I said, go ahead and send them back and I'll refund you. And then I said, I'm going to build you a totally different set of pickups and you can just have those. Because I want you to, experience my pickups the way you should, the way I want you to. And that way that's no loss or no cost to you and no loss even if you don't like them. So I'm going to send them another set. And I said, if you like them, go to the Les Paul group and Facebook and talk them up. So kind of turning a negative into a positive where it could make me even more money, even though I'm kind of taking a hit with him because he had problem. And if he has the same problem, it's not the pickups then it's his gear,
Right.
But
well, in all likelihood, it is. It sounds like, especially if you potted the one and sent it back.
yeah, it could be. And I just didn't want to get in a debate with him or anything. So I said, I don't do this all the time, but this time I'm going to do this. Let's see. And I just want to get the most positive outcome I possibly can.
Smart move.
For him and for myself. And so we're gonna figure out how that's gonna turn out real soon. So, and also I finally got my big green winder going, my Meteor, and that's been taking like 4 or 5 months, maybe 6. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time. Had to get all the pieces and parts, and I had tooling made, and the guy that did the tooling just did a fantastic job.
Nice.
And it looks. Yeah, I didn't want to sound like what's his name when I said that, but he did a great job.
You mean
what's his name?
Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah,
Fantastic job. What's his name? Kaczynski's.
Dan Aykroyd,
Kaczynski's car pass. Yeah.
yeah. Kaczynski's cap hats. Yeah.
Ray Kaczynski.
Anyway, he did better than the other guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So.
Oh, cool.
It's a really good week. I got a lot of things done and catching up on orders and turning negatives into positives. And, that way I can just fall right asleep when the head hits the pillow.
Nice. That's what we really care about.
Yeah.
That's what's getting you through the day.
Yeah.
If you could fall asleep when you go to bed, you're doing good.
That's definitely making it out the end. Oh boy.
I'm gonna steal that actually. That's
Yeah.
a really good line.
Yeah, that's
It's
another
true.
shirt for you. We're gonna come up. You're gonna have a few shirts when you're done with this show, pal.
Nothing related to
yeah.
pedals, but I'll have a few shirts.
Yeah.
It's a good point, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, Tony, are we gonna have a stalemate here? Is that what's going on?
How about you, Todd?
Damn it.
Yeah, chicken. I win. All right.
No, really, go ahead.
Thank you. So I have the EP booster, as we've talked about before. That's one of the ones on a lot of people's boards and stuff.
Oh, actually, I just found out it's actually the EP booster.
Oh, the EP booster. Oh, excellently. Yes.
EP. Yeah, it's no longer EP, it's EP.
It's EP.
It's
yes.
ep.
So I have the EP booster, and I was feeling a little like it was pushing the bass frequency on my amp a little too much. Like it was really making it like bass heavy. And I thought
That's known to happen, actually.
yeah, well, I didn't know that. But I figured, I said, maybe if I cracked into the dip switches internally, I can solve this problem. And also it was creating with my knob all the way down, it was like boost. It was like woof, it was like a huge punch of volume. And I'm like, I don't even have this thing cranked on. It's literally just on, and it's and it's an awesome sound. But if I'm wanting to get the other sounds, like the sound of the actual amp driving, and I got the drive pedals going, that's a lot of volume. So I went into the settings there, and it was set at default, which is there's 2 dip switches, and both of them were up, and that is 3 dB gain, and the bright switch, which I thought was weird because I'm like, well, that shouldn't account for like the bass boost boom thing. But I did switch it to what's called the unity gain setting. So you turn off the 3 dB gain, and then you just have the bright switch on. So I was like, I hit that, and man, that sounded great with my current setup. So I can actually use the knob on the actual boost to adjust any push that I want to. But just having it on with nothing, with the knob at like 0, that's what an EP's like really good at. It just has that extra sound that you're like, oof, I don't know where this is, but it sounds good. So,
You know what I started doing with mine is, I forget who it was. We were talking about running something at 18 volts, and the EP booster is designed to take anywhere from 9 to 18 volts. So
really?
Yeah. So you run it at 18, and you get a lot more headroom on the pedal, and it's pretty good. So that was something I was experimenting last week or two. I think it's a good option.
That sounds like it'd be great if you were kind of running just a driven amp, like no gain pedals. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another pedal that takes 18 volts that people don't know a lot about is the carbon copy. Everyone complains that it's very dark, the repeats, but if you run it at 18 volts, the repeats do get brighter. It oscillates way quicker, but it does get brighter.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that could be a whole show altogether. It's like, here's all the 18 volt pedals that sound better if you actually run them at 18 volts.
Yeah.
For somebody else to do, not us. We're not going to do that show. Anyways, cool. Well, that was fun. Now here's some more fun. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. Andy Catalano from Pedalboard of the Day on Instagram. What is your 4 on the floor?
So my first one is probably the most controversial pedal, at least from what I see, is a 1981 DRV. I feel like everyone has a comment about it, whether it's a clone, it's not a clone. I mean, I don't really care. It sounds really good. I got it directly I reached out to Matt Hoops. I believe that's how you say his name. And I'm like, hey, I want to try the pedal. Like, can you hook me up? And he did. And he sent it over. And I was just really curious about what it was all about. And it's kind of, everyone says it's a Rat clone, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't really care, but it sounds really, really good. And I use it essentially as my clean tone. A lot of people probably will use it as a distortion pedal, but it really is the sound of kind of my clean guitar. It has this like really beautiful setting at like the gain at like barely above 0. And it kind of is just like this very kind of break up tone, and it's like really, really great. And it has this it cuts the bass frequencies in the amp, but in a really, really nice way. And it kind of just brings out the single coils of a Stratocaster. At least I feel that way. And I don't know. There's so much controversy of whether or not it's an Instagram pedal because it looks beautiful, or people buy it because of what it looks like. Yeah, it looks great, but it sounds great too. And, it's not that much more expensive than any other boutique pedal that's kind of cloning some other well-known pedal. So I don't know what the controversy is there. And I thought I might just say that on your show, because that's one thing that really, really bothers me a lot.
Yeah, well, that one does get a lot of... it's a polarizing pedal, I think. For that reason, for some of the reasons that you mentioned. What version do you have? I know that there's like a handful of them out there.
Oh yeah, it's the number 3, so it's white with the 3 stripes.
Gotcha.
The 3 colored stripes there: the blue, yellow, and red.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know. I just feel like if it wasn't really a popular pedal, people wouldn't really care. But I mean, I guess that's the same thing for anything, right?
Yeah. Could be.
It's kind of like, I feel like, if Metallica wouldn't, side note, I'm a huge Metallica fan, but I feel like Metallica wasn't, I feel like there's some controversy later, their discography, but I feel like if they weren't so massive, I feel like it's like that with anything. People wouldn't get hate on if they weren't so damn big.
Yeah. Okay, so while we're here, just for a moment, are you a Metallica fan for the entire discography, or do you have a cutoff?
So it's I pretend that Saint Anger and Death Magnetic don't exist, but everything else is good. And I think that Load and Reload are really underrated, just like blues jam rock albums.
Interesting.
And I think that if people would just forget the fact that it's Metallica, it's like there's some heavy, heavy grooves on that, like really, really just kind of like that. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of melody on there, and it's way simpler, and like it's nothing like groundbreaking. But I think like just musically for listenable songs, it's really really great.
I gotcha. I have to say, I mean, I remember going to the mall to go get the Black album, and that was kind of the end of my relationship with them. I listened to it, and I was so gutted. I was literally just gutted when I heard that, and yeah, it was kind of weird. I can only do Before Black for me personally.
Really?
But yeah. I don't know
sonically,
why.
That album is nuts. I don't know, like if you listen to it on some really great speakers, sonically, it's massive.
Yeah, it was. It's the song. It's the songs. Well, anyways, on the Metallica podcast, we can.
Sorry.
But no, you bring up a good point. It's like it's one of those things where it's like everybody's got some love for it, but the degree of that love varies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you have for number 2?
Number 2 is Chase Bliss Audio Therme. I think this is I think it's one of the most brilliant pedals ever made. I don't know. I kind of like, I don't know. Joel is at another level, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I think it would be unfair to be a pedal builder. Maybe I'm hyping him up too much, but I just feel like he gets it, or he just has some kind of like magical ability. And this pedal is just nuts. I just find that every time I'm in a creative rut, this is like the thing I turn on, and it gets me writing. And it's got this, especially the analog. If you turn on all those like pitch effect things, even just the analog delay has just got this kind of warmth to it. It's like textural, and I don't know. It's kind of like, at least for me, it's kind of like the delay. I feel the delay. It's like it's not just like you're hearing it. You're kind of like being a part of the sound, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I know.
You just sold about 22 of those pedals, pal.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everyone should experience. Too bad it's so damn expensive, but everyone should experience the Therme at least once in their life. It's just so fantastic.
Okay, now everybody that says a Chase Bliss pedal, we always ask, do you dip switch or don't you dip switch?
Never dip switch. But I did buy a fave switch for that one.
Okay. That's also what we also hear from everybody.
Where did I get it from? Because I didn't answer that part of the question, right?
Oh, well, you didn't have to. I mean, where you got it from, matters less unless it was, some great story. But
no, it's never a great story. I just bought it.
Okay.
You what?
Yes. So
I did what?
Yeah. What do you have for number 3?
So this might be off the board, but Hungry Robots Wardenclyffe. It's kind of this. Yeah, have you ever heard of it?
Wardenclyffe?
Wardenclyffe. I don't know.
Well,
I can
okay.
spell it for you. This. It's like it's really. I'm not sure if we're pronouncing it.
No,
right,
we'll figure it out.
But essentially, it's kind of like this weird modulation, lo-fi vibrato circuit with a kind of weirdly it's like a delay reverb that's always on the edge of self-oscillation. And it's just so hauntingly beautiful. It's like when you play it again, it's like another one of those pedals, like it takes you where I feel like it's writing the song for you. I mean, it does its thing. And it really, really captures the mood. I got that from I'm fortunate enough because I do gear demos. So I do pedal demos, and I hook up with this local shop here, Electric Mojo Guitars, and he lets me borrow some stuff just to do some videos. Mm-hmm. And that was one I had to buy. I had to buy from him. It just one of those pedals you turn on and you write. And I feel like if you have a pedal and you're not writing music with it instantly, you should get rid of that pedal. At least the way I approach music, which is kind of like constantly write songs, never record them, but and never go back to learn what I've written.
That's an interesting way to look at things. I mean, there's definitely pedals that I plug in and I don't want to stop playing them. I think that's sort of that same thing. It's like if it's inspiring you to play, that's a great pedal. If it is working with another pedal and those two inspire you to play, then that's a great combo or something, So, but if you just plug it in and go, no, that sounds kind of cool or that looks cool, and then you don't really do anything more with it, then it's a great paperweight, maybe.
Speaking of cool looking pedals, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like we've reached a point in pedals where almost anything you buy will sound great. So kind of like the playing field is pretty equal. So it's like, why not pick a pedal that looks really awesome to you?
Absolutely.
You know, like everything sounds really, really good. I think I've tried enough pedals to say like 90% of them are all in the same tier. There's like that extra 10% that are just like, wow. But you know, for the 90%, like they're all really great. And if something looks cool to you, why not just admit you bought it because it looks pretty rad?
I freely admit that. I go in for that. Now, and by the way, I have reached out to Mr. Robot in the past, and he was very kind but declined. I don't do interviews. And I'm like, all right, we've had a handful of them. So, sorry, everybody.
Are you sure he's not a robot?
I'm not sure that he's not a robot.
How do I know any of you are not robots?
That's
Just
true.
voices?
Jared is definitely a robot.
No, he's not.
They just can't reach the off switch that's way up on the top of his head. Oh boy. All right, what do you have for number 4?
Adventure Audio Dream Reaper. So this was it's hard to I don't know. They describe it like like on their website. They describe it as a modulation fuzz or oscillating thing. I don't know. It's just like it's this really cool fuzz that has like this gated option, and it sounds very, very synthy. And if you kind of have low output pickups, your notes die in this really beautiful way where like they die like with a Velcro-y sound, but it doesn't. I don't know. For me, it just has a kind of different quality to it that I don't know how to explain, but it just sounds great. And for whatever reason, this pedal, when you pair it up with any vibrato circuit, it just sounds like the distorted old VHS, like that same kind of like warm, kind of chewy saturation. And I there's no other fuzz pedal that pairs up with any kind of vibrato and sounds that way. I actually had posted a clip on my my Instagram account of just that sound, and I wish, because this pedal has a different like option to it that has like this feedback option that you can send back into the pedal, and I wish they would just replace that and put like a vibrato circuit into the pedal where I could turn on the fuzz and then turn on the vibrato part of it, because it's amazing.
It's a tricky pedal to operate because I think first of all, that's another pedal that's like, it's cool. All the knobs are in a circle. It's like, well, okay, who else is doing that? You know, and then that just makes you want to play with all the knobs. But those knobs have so many combos and can vary just even one tick. You know, if you just turn it a little bit, it's like, whoa, that changes the sound radically. So there is a ton of sound to be had in that particular pedal.
It's funny you mentioned that because I think I found that setting 2 years ago and I haven't changed it.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I'm trying real hard not to go into Brockmeyer. I've been watching that on Hulu, and been trying real hard not to go into Brockmeyer. Anyways, the voice thing. So, anyways, that's done. I'm segue out of that stupid thing I just said.
You do it so well.
Yeah, well, I've had lots of practice. Anyhow, all right. That was great, and I was excited to hear what your 4 on the floor is, especially, because the thing that you do is so deeply oriented in all of every new pedal that's flying at all of us is like you're catching them, Yeah. So let's talk about the thing that you do, which is Pedalboard of the Day.
I hate hearing people say that name. It's like I'm embarrassed of that name. I've actually gone to like a couple of guitar exhibitions here, and it's just like I don't want to tell people I'm from that because the name sounds so stupid.
Hey, you're Pedalboard of the Day.
Change it to Pedalboard du jour.
Yeah.
Pedalboard daily.
Yeah. Well, I speaking of that, I remember being at when we were in NAMM, and I went up to our friend Mike, and I didn't know him well enough to say, "Oh, hello, Mike," and I said, I walked up and I go, "Pusheen?" Yeah. And he goes, "Hey, guitar knobs." And I was like, "Okay, so we should probably introduce each other." And it was that was a weird way to enter, Are you that person? And I would have felt it's like if that for some reason wasn't him, which it's impossible not to be him because he's very recognizable. But
I have a creepier story than that because I don't really introduce myself, so I just go around taking pictures at these guitar exhibitions.
Yeah.
And then I'll post them all in there, and then the guy's like, "Oh, your pedal board of the day." It's like you just took a picture of my booth and didn't tell me who you were.
Yeah.
And just like slowly walked away.
yeah.
They call him the creeper.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, for someone who give us the rundown. Like, what is your actual channel about? And then we'll get deep into the stuff. But just give us anybody who doesn't know what this is. What is it?
Essentially, is if you have a pedal board and it's the photo is taken really nicely, I will post a pedal board every single day, which I've done I think now for 3 years or 4 years.
Wow.
I haven't missed a single day, which is really also very creepy. But yeah, essentially that's the whole page. I have integrated my own content into it as well, and I do some pedal demos. I try to have one a week that come out as well. So that's essentially the page in a nutshell.
Very well done. You've passed.
On to part 2.
Well, that's it. That's just, we just needed confirmation on what this crazy thing is.
Okay, that was a great show.
That's it.
So how does one start? What made you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember why I did that. I just remember I was like, I love pedal boards. I love looking at pedal boards, and I found just kind of like looking at them inspired me to kind of make my own. And I felt like I wanted to chat with people about pedals in general. So I just maybe if I post other people's pictures, then they'll be forced to talk to me online about pedal boards. And then oddly enough, it grew way too big, way too quickly for me to have any reasonable ability to actually chat with everyone that's requesting to talk about pedals. Because I must get 100 people a day asking, "Oh, can you post my board? What's this? You recommend that?" And it's kind of I have a 9-to-5 job. There's just no way I can answer all these questions and have conversations with thousands of people at one time.
Yeah. What may I ask what you do in your 9-to-5 job?
Oh yeah, I work at a university as in administration.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're smart and stuff.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I guess. Does that make me smart? No, it's a very clean. Yeah, it's very weird because I don't know. I feel like all musicians have this kind of everyone's oh, musicians really edgy, and it's man, I feel like I'm not edgy at all. I'm just a clean cut guy. I feel yeah. Does that make sense? There's no edge to me.
I doubt that, seriously.
There used to be.
It's just slowly worn off.
Now his soul has been corrupted
Yeah.
by Pedalboard of the Day postings.
So you started that about 5 years ago?
February 2016. So how long is that now? That's 4 years, right?
Over
yeah,
4 years.
ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Was there something at the time when you started that really kind of captured your attention about pedal boards?
Yeah, side note before, so I had a Korg AX 1500, which is this multi-pedal thing at the time, and it was I always used that. Then I used to watch Andy.
If it's got some crazy lettered numbered name behind
It's
it,
never good.
It's definitely a multi something.
1500.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I used to watch those Andy Gear demos, Pro Guitar Shop, and I was just holy, what is all this? This is nuts, right? Mm-hmm. And then why pedal board? So then I don't know. I didn't even know that pedals go on a pedal board. I just started buying pedals, and they were on the floor. And then slowly but surely, I was let's see what my favorite bands are playing in terms of pedals. And then they had pedal boards, and I was just curious on just the variety at the time. I mean, it was just starting the golden age of pedals. So all these boutique companies were coming out in 2016. There was still a fair amount of them, but a lot of boards. There were still not as many companies, but boards that were so diverse, and it's just weird to see that, how many different combinations of pedals you can put for someone's sound, and it's just it's completely endless, and that just fascinated me.
It's fascinating to me too. That's why I like all this stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, is it? I don't know. Is it creepy that I want to know what's on people's boards?
No, it isn't. It's cool. I want to know. That's why we have a 4 on the floor. You started off doing this. How did you get? Were you just like reposting people's pedal boards, or like?
Yeah, essentially, I was like, at first I was just going into the hashtags, and I'm like, oh, this looks nice, and there's still an aesthetic quality to it. Again, like Instagram is visual, so you know, if you take a nice shot that's well lit and the pedals are arranged quite cleanly, I mean, you make the page, right?
Yeah,
and that's essentially what I did, and whatever captured my eye, what I thought was interesting, I would post it, and then I would talk about either pedals I've played myself or pedals I was looking to kind of buy myself, and just to kind of, you know, just chat, and then it kind of it grew from there. And then eventually, like very quickly, it became like people sending me their stuff or tagging me in their stuff, which made it a lot easier than to kind of search and chat with everyone every day.
And to be clear, we're talking about pedal boards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, hey, things can get weird. Now, and as you're doing that, I'm willing to bet here. Sorry, I was off mic. Willing to bet that you probably started seeing things emerge in patterns. I think for me, that's one of the things that I'm so interested about this world this guitar world that we're in, that, you know, much like other things that people have a very high interest or even cult passion for, is that you see the winds move and the seas change, and sometimes it's total chaos and it's like, hey, everything goes, and sometimes it's like, oh no, clearly we are on a path of this for right now. When is that fair to say? Were you able to see some of that happen?
Yeah, first when I started everything was Strymon everywhere. Everyone had the Strifecta, right? The Mobius, the Timeline, and the Big Sky, almost on every damn board. And then after it kind of, the Chase Bliss thing, which came, and then that kind of never stopped, Walrus Audio. I found JHS, it's odd because at the time that everyone at least had one JHS drive in 2016 on their board, but you don't see much JHS that often. It's kind of like they've moved into like the Boss like Electro-Harmonics territory in terms of mass-produced pedals. And then it was odd that I remember Maris was about to release the Mercury 7, and they were still like, I guess people knew that like one of the people who built there were from Strymon, but I was just like, this is definitely going to take off just because of the look and the functionality, and you know, really weird reverbs are very, very, very popular. So you kind of see those trends. I find recently, like now, I find like there isn't really that many trends just because there's so many companies. I find that right now it's just kind of free for all, but I do feel like the pedal like world is kind of retracting a bit. I think a lot of companies, like there was so much activity maybe a year ago, and that activity has kind of died down.
Interesting.
In terms of new pedal releases.
What do you think that? So go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, out of all of the 2,000 some postings plus, what is the most bizarre pedal board that you've posted?
Bizarre?
Yeah.
I don't know. Bizarre.
Okay, how about interesting?
Interesting. I think one guy had a wall of pedals, if I'm not mistaken. It was just
I saw that. That looks awesome.
Pedals.
It's actually really practical if you think about it. If you're like a home player, that makes way more sense because you can actually adjust all the knobs.
Or you can play all your pedals. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You have to switch your damn board every time.
Yes. I'm considering doing that, by the way. I'm not lying.
I think you're not too far off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not, and apparently like he got it, if I'm not mistaken, he got like the walnut custom made, but he had someone come wire everything up or something like that.
Oh, wow.
I think it's maybe, I don't know, I'm going to say Y_control. I think it's that control with a K, like corn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's the user, but it was really cool.
Interesting. Or Kellogg's.
Kellogg's, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
K's not preceded by C's are very, very...
Yes.
They give me a lot of anxiety.
Yes. Especially these days.
Yeah. So okay, that was a good question, Tony. I appreciate that question from the Peanut Gallery. And
All right, I'll go back to bed now.
no, I like those. I don't want to be the only one
I'm
doing
just
this.
kidding.
And that's for everybody that's listening. Just so you guys know, okay, it's like minor, I guess stream pause here. I can't see Tony and I can't see Jared. And usually when we're all together at the table, it's a the conversation is so fluid because we can see each other and I can't tell if Jared's raising his hand right now, waiting for me to.
I'm not.
I see that. I'm figuring he's not. He'll jump in with something, but Jared, we're glad you're with us. Anyways.
You.
So, okay, yes, I want to know. I've got all kinds of like little questions. This is a little bit less about like, walk us through your whole, building, blah blah blah. But what is your number one peeve about what you're doing?
Number one peeve. I don't know.
Do you have many? You can list a couple if you want.
My number one. I don't know. It's not a peeve. It's just always bizarre to me because like. I'll post someone's board and they're so appreciative of it. They're like, thanks so much. And they freak out. And like, I'm great that they do or else no one would care about my page if no one freaked out. But I'm just always like, I don't know. And they're like, they thank me. Like personally, it's like, I'm just a regular guy. Like, I don't know. I'm just, you know what I mean? It's very strange to me. Like we're all sharing stuff with virtual strangers, but it means so much to us. And I mean, I'm sure like, if Metallica would follow me, I'd freak out, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always like something that's really odd to me that we freak out for stuff like this, and it means so much to us.
Yeah. Well,
But is that really a peeve though? I don't know.
nah. Yeah, I get it.
Let me make
I
a
have
few
a, I,
calls.
I have a real peeve. I have
Okay.
a real peeve. This is what
I wonder
so
if it's the same
occasionally
one as mine.
someone will send a picture of a photo of a pedalboard. I mean, obviously it's a photo, and it won't be cabled. But evidently, it will eventually be cabled, and people get so angry. They're like, "It's not a pedal board. There are no cables on it." It's like, who cares? It's obviously someone will put cables between those pedals. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's a very specific one. Matter of fact, I would say my number one, and this is when I like actually will like yell at my phone, and I'm debating whether I should even say this because I don't want to get a whole bunch of these pictures.
Say it, Todd. Come on.
But I'm gonna say it, and if I get them, Tony, I'm gonna redirect them all to you.
Perfect.
Don't take a pedalboard picture with your stupid bare feet.
You've mentioned that before. You seem to have
come
an issue
on,
with
people.
bare feet.
It's weird and personal and gross. Like there's no guys. Well, there are some pretty feet out there, but not a lot.
You don't like the hair on the big toe?
It just weirds me out. I'm like, I don't know. I don't need to see that. And why
But
on earth?
Todd,
Who's
how else are
playing
you supposed to use your barefoot buttons?
What if they're outside in the summer and it's really hot and they don't want to stuff their feet in a sock?
Then use your finger or something. I don't need to see the feet, man.
Are sandals acceptable?
I should do a feature of the week, like show us your barefoot and your pedalboard.
A feature of the week.
A feature.
Yes, you can use that.
Do you know, it's funny though that it's perfectly acceptable that a drummer is barefoot behind the drum.
Is it? I don't think.
And the drummer could be in an arena filled, big
Arena?
time show. Yeah. Or an arena filled crowd instead of crowd filled arena.
Yeah.
They could be there and they'd be barefoot and nobody would care because he's the drummer.
It's interesting you say that because I always imagine myself, if I made it big as a musician, I wouldn't wear shoes on stage. I just feel much more comfortable in my socks.
Who
there's
does
plenty
that?
of people to do that.
Jenkins does that with Third Eye Blind. He actually has a mat put down for every show and he's barefoot.
Yeah.
What about a shoe that looks like a barefoot?
Shut it.
You could do that too.
Don't they
It would
have
just
those?
look like you had giant feet.
Yeah.
Don't they have Crocs with toes? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of runners wear those.
All right, you clowns. All right.
They should make them with hair on the toes.
All right. So, is there something that you like when posting all these, looking at all these things? Would you wish that would go away for maybe a long time? Or something you're sick of dealing with?
It's definitely those cable guys. The guys that I wish they wouldn't get. I don't know. In terms of like, what do you mean? Like a fad that would go away? Or
maybe, maybe.
Of,
just if there's something you're like, okay, all right, we get it. Enough of that.
Enough of that. I don't know. Enough of what? It's hard to say. I really don't know. I guess another thing that bothers is like what would go away. I guess people who complain about like people who have like 24 pedals on a board but no like looper, like a switchable looper, and they're like, oh, your signal, whatever. It's like okay, but like like if if it sounds good to your ears, you're probably right. I think people are pretty good judges of what sounds good when they're playing something, and so much I find of playing is what you're feeling, and that's why I said like even before, like if a pedal looks cool, may as well buy it because it's like a guitar. I feel like a guitar can feel like it can feel like not great, but if it looks cool and you think it looks cool, like you're just into it and you're playing it.
Yeah. And
you feel great about it. And it's the same thing with pedals and sound. And I find a lot of it is psychological for sure.
Mm-hmm. And is there a trend right now that you think or that you're identifying that you're excited about?
A trend that I'm identifying, the lo-fi thing is like a massive trend. I feel like everyone is going, like every company, I feel like even companies that maybe even make, well, maybe not drive companies, but I feel like everyone's making a lo-fi something nowadays that kind of like garbles up your tone or makes it sound like some old vintage record. And I do feel like that was kind of like Chase Bliss Audio started that kind of phase with the warp vinyl. Yeah. And I feel like everyone's been trying to emulate it and add to it in certain way. And that's definitely a trend for sure.
Well, it's interesting. When you said lo-fi, I was thinking like early pedal style, like the wedge pedals, and JHS just launched the whole line of like, the originals, kind of old fuzzes and stuff like that.
It's funny you say that because I find Boss, a lot of people, like there was like a time in 2016 it was like, oh, Boss, now everyone's like, yo, Boss, geez, they're great. And there's like like another kind of acknowledgement that they're just a great company. You can't go wrong with a Boss pedal, even a Metal Zone.
Yeah. Is there, aside from ones that may be trending or not, what are some of the things that, like, when you see a pedal board come in that, like, make you either choose that pedal board, I'm assuming because you find it very interesting, or that, like, that when you look at it, you're like, oh, man, that is awesome, or I love that pedal, or I love this layout. How do you make the decisions, and what makes you happy when you see something like that?
I think it's a combination of like kind of the aesthetic look, and then it's another combination of like, oh wow, 4 reverbs, that's really interesting. Why 4 reverbs? Especially like when you see some people, they'll have like like a Big Sky which does everything, and then they'll have 3 other reverbs as well, and it's like, oh, this doesn't seem necessary to me, but I'm curious why you would have that. Or people who have like 7 drives on a board. That's I love those ones.
Todd.
Those always.
I do not have 7. I have culled it down.
But it's like you can care, like you kind of like, it's weird because obviously I've always wanted to do this thing where people then send me like a clip of what their board sounds like, but that's just like way too much work, and I kind of have that musician thing in me where it's like, if it's too much work, I just won't do it.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, you're like 7 drives. Hey, I'm really curious, like, what that would sound like.
Yeah.
Like, what is it in each and every drive that really gets this person going?
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, and then you have to think like, well, are they using multiple guitars, or like for me, I use a couple different guitars on stage that have different pickup setups, and certain pickups play well with other ones, and you get a slightly different sound with this combination of these 2 pedals versus these 2 or something like that.
I never thought of that. That's actually, I think it would seem obvious, but I never thought that maybe it's because they have different guitars that they're playing with.
Yeah, yeah. There's also a funny thing that you mentioned about there you got 24 pedals and no looper or something like that. I think that there's a strange functionality thing. I think you probably fall into one of two camps, which is I like the idea of having everything be like ultra smart, and even if it's complicated, if it seems smart, that's good. Versus I want to play on stage, and I don't want to have to go like, okay, wait, am I on the third preset or the fourth preset of my multi-pedal? I have to run over there and stomp on the effect. It's like sometimes the rudimentary mechanical nature of a pedal board, just with all the pedals, is a comfort and a safety. Is like, there's a pedal, I can step on it, and I know what that does. I don't have to worry about flashing lights or presets or something like that.
Yeah, but there's also something really awesome about slapping on a pedal. Like, I don't know, is it just me? Like, don't you kind of like, you're hitting? I feel it takes out all the joy of it. It's just like, I'm just gonna hit like the button number 1 instead of like just slamming on that second overdrive.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, brother. Oh yeah. That I think that character may find its way through a couple more, because I really enjoyed putting that one on the end of our last.
Oh yes.
Could you up your input there, brother? Anyways, so a couple of other things that I'm curious about. Are you a fan of multicolored cables, or do you like everything just like all black?
Yeah, okay. I guess that's another pet peeve of mine. There's one thing.
I knew there was one.
There's one thing I really just don't care about is cables. Like, people like get into like the granular. I'm sorry if anyone is
Todd.
I just don't care. Like, does it connect, and does it save me space? I'm good. But no. All things aside, like I when I started, I used to buy just like these dollar cables. And like they would either die out, or like something weird would go around with them. And then I kind of upgraded to fancier cables. And I do admit there is a slight quality difference. So I guess like for me, it's kind of like, if it's reliable and it doesn't screw up my sound, I really don't care, type of thing.
Got it.
It can be pink. It can be all the colors at one time. But yeah,
I like this guy. He just makes total sense.
Now,
It doesn't have to be some sort of brand name, super experience one to open the box, with 10 stickers and a story and all that. It's just a simple product that does the right job.
but
And
only
it-
for
and the price
cables
point's
though,
good,
because I
too.
love that for pedals.
Right. Well, yeah. There you go. You got to have that with pedals, right?
Yeah.
So another one that in that same vein, the neat thing about what we are involved in is that every tiny little thing is a decision. Should I go pancake? Should I go George L? Should I what about the square patch cables? Those are new. I should those are probably better. I'm going to sound better with that.
How about the solderless ones?
Solderless. I said it.
You said it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So Graham, one of the things that Instagram does, and I think this is much more evident in like younger, like maybe you could say pop culture, is like the waves are strong in there. Like if one or two people do it and they see success, then everybody does the exact same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming there's a little bit of that in what we're doing, and that probably runs into I'm assuming like even cable type. Yeah.
I think it comes back to, if it looks good to you, to your eyes, you're gonna play better and you're gonna enjoy playing it. As much as like music is about the instruments, you have to feel good with what you're playing, because like I said, you can probably get a pedal that's like unanimously the best pedal in the world. If it doesn't feel good to you, you won't play well, and it'll sound like crap. Yeah.
And now, let's talk about the actual boards. The funny thing is, when we say pedal boards, we're mostly talking about pedals, but the boards themselves, that's an entire other thing. Now, for you personally, where do you land on the pedalboard style spectrum?
I go with, so there's some fancy stuff out there. Like sometimes it's just like, wow, that is. But the thing is, like, I don't gig, so I just want something that'll hold my pedals. And so I'm like on a pedal train thing, and but like the tempo boards are really really awesome. And then you got what's that company now? They have like the 2-tier pedal boards. It's just like man, why is the name escaping me? And I talk about them all the time, but. Can anyone help me out here? They're like very giggable.
Yeah, well, Jared's got two of the tempo boards. I know that like the one that I'm using a tone snob. He's a dude down south and makes them by hand. West Coast. It's basically you get down to the wedge, like the wood construction wedge, or the pedal train style.
My first pedal board was an IKEA shelf. It was actually my pedal board for a long time. Like the DIY IKEA thing that it just weighed 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, the tempo boards. What I really like about them is they have that all the whole. They're just. I'm sorry, I can't really explain it very well, but there's several holes. It's like a polka dot, and they're picture a polka dot something. Perforated, yeah. Well, perforated to me is like perforated so you could tear a piece of paper from the other piece. But anyway, there's plenty of holes, so there's not right.
It's literally what perforated me.
Your teepee is perforated, so you can. Well, yeah, but they're not nice, juicy, big holes for cables.
Okay.
What I love about mine is mine is great because. I've got all different shapes and size pedals because I like the vintage ones and the newer ones and the weird ones and the cool ones. I like a lot of modulation, whatever. But I like to just... they're great because you can put them anywhere you want and build it any way you want. There's no limit to where you're going to run your cable underneath, and it really makes a clean-looking board. And they sell the on-off things, which I didn't know in the very beginning, but I have several now. So I think that's if you're not really a pedal board connoisseur and you just need something as far as functionality, I think the tempo board is a really good starter. I think it's very simplified starter. Accessories can be kind of expensive, but
yeah. You know what I like? I like them in that they're not railed, right? So like the only thing I hate about the pedal train is like I don't know, it's gonna sound weird, but like the gaps between like the spaces. If you have like a 2-tiered one, it bothers me, and I like the tempo board because it's like there's none of that space, right?
It's clean.
Yeah. Oh, the other one I wanted to mention was Schmidt Array pedal boards. I mean, if you're not gigging, that's excessive. I will say that to anyone who has them and are not gigging. But those things look insane.
Yeah, those ones. Those are pretty nice. Pretty nice. Maybe too nice. And they're kind of like a Bentley for pedals.
The Bentley of pedals.
Yeah. So, as you are continuing on this, is there anything that you've concluded from like, hey, if you're gonna set up a pedal board, here's some tips.
Yeah, I think one is, I don't know, trust your ears. Like, stop trying to figure out like what's the best fuzz or what's the best. You know what the best fuzz is. You know what you're gonna like. So that's the one thing I would say. The second one is, I made fun of it before, but just get good cables. Like, just invest in them, because I had like some terrible. I kept buying like these $1 cables like over and over again. And they would just keep breaking, and it's odd because it's not like I gig and they would somehow break. Just invest in some good cables. I think. And the other thing is like invest in a good power supply. It took me like 3 years to kind of just finally admit that a decent power supply is really important. It, depending on what pedals you have on your board, your pedals will sound different if you have a bad power supply. It's like I know a lot of people are in denial about that, but it's just the truth. You don't have to get anything fancy.
Rob Chafe had some really good points about grounding too, and that goes along with the power supply. I think if you have a really good power supply, then that takes care of a lot of annoying issues like grounding, humming, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to add to your point.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, this has been a super lot of fun. Here's a weird thing. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't know. I feel like this is like a job interview. I don't know. Do you have any? I hate when they ask that. I don't know. Do you like me? Like, am I cool? Am I boring? I don't know.
Have some
that's my
confidence,
question.
boy.
No confidence. I'm neurotic. I'm like the Montreal Larry David.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, that works out just fine right there. We'll just end right there. Now, gentlemen, Jared, I think this is a time when we call on your superpower to get us into something.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time in this awesome show, and it's been a great show so far, to go to the segment called Would You Rather?
All right.
Yeah.
You sounded a little COVID-y at the end there.
Yeah, I know. A little COVID-y. Stay away from me. No.
Jeez.
Wear a mask. This week's Would You Rather, I'm going to go ahead and shoot in the dark on this, but I think I have a really good idea. And, of course, it has to do with pedal boards. So, would you rather? You've got a nice amount of money, but you're limited because it's a Would You Rather.
What?
So,
What? That completely is... okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
You have a
I
lot of
know.
money,
You just-
but it doesn't matter because you're limited
Right. Well,
on money.
you have to choose one or the other.
Okay.
And the money can't buy total happiness. You have to settle with this amount of money. So it's one of those.
That should be a name for a pedal, by the way. Total happiness.
Would you rather spend your money mostly on high quality pedal board itself, the board, and the components like the cables and the power, and have, okay pedals or, just, I don't want to say bottom feeder, but just okay pedals? Or would you rather have, an okay run-of-the-mill pedal board and okay cables and high-end pedals? What are you going to do? What direction would you go?
Oh, that's a great question, Jared. Doggone it, you get a trophy today, friend.
Yes.
We know what really high-end pedals are. And we also know what, pedals that are, just totally
Pedestrian.
Yeah,
It
just
doesn't
okay
mean they're
pedals.
pedestrian quality. It just means they're not really expensive.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
That's what I was getting. I didn't want to insult anybody.
No, you're fine. You're fine, Jared. Okay, Tony Baloney is going to start us off, and I'll go around the horn for everybody.
Well, I'm a big believer in good infrastructure. So I am going to get the really good pedal board with good cabling and a great power supply, and deal with the, so-so pedals, because at the end of the day, I think if you've got good structure and, you just wait for the pedals to crap out, and you can replace them with a better pedal.
All right.
So I think that's having a good foundation is important on a pedal board. So that's the route I am going.
Great. Jared?
Yeah, it's really difficult because if you go big on the pedals, but, maybe risk on the infrastructure of the pedals, it may not matter that you have the awesome pedals.
You might not be able to get signal to them.
Yeah, so... But, if you get the okay stuff and it's brand new... Well, since the stuff is brand new, I'm going to get the bigger, nicer... I'm going to get the nicer pedals and the okay board and okay infrastructure because it's brand new.
Okay.
And see if it lasts a gig.
He did a flip-flop
I'm
on
gonna
us
take.
there.
I'm going to take the risk. Yeah, I think I was going to go Tony's logic, but I'm just going to be kind of, rolling the dice here. Why not?
Just remember, I'm older and wiser than you.
I know that. I realize that, but I'm just going to gamble anyway because I'm
Yeah.
a gambler.
How about you, Andy?
I think if it was 2016, I would go for high-end pedals, whatever other, like anything else, like power supply, cables, pedalboard. But I think now I kind of really appreciate like just, again, having that good infrastructure and just kind of it being reliable. It's there. You don't have to worry about it. And then, at the end of the day is if the pedal makes the sound you're looking for, I mean, that's what should count, right? I think that's what people think. But as a side note, I would really love for someone to like send a photo with like this like Schmidt array pedal board with like the best power supply and the best cables with all Joyo pedals. I would love to see that.
There's one out there.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
Probably owns the company.
The German guy. I can't. His name is so hard to pronounce.
Hans?
No, it's yeah. He's on YouTube. He's a German dude. He's got
Oh yeah. HP, whatever his name is.
yeah. It's like HP Psych something. It's crazy, and he's hilarious to watch. He's like super animated and super German, which is also funny. It's just weird because he's got all this gear and these crazy pedal boards, and then he's like, I think he must be sponsored by Joyo or something because he uses a lot of Joyo pedals.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. All right.
Side note about that guy, one of my favorite. There's a video of him. And he went over through his gear, and he was like at a pedal, and like you said, he's just like outgoing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this pedal. I remember this pedal. I was supposed to demo it, and I didn't because it sucked." And then he just said that. I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. He's super high energy. I'd like to meet that guy someday. He'd be fun to have on the show, actually. Okay.
How about you, Todd?
Well, thank you, Tony. I'm going your route because I don't have a lot of expensive stuff. I just don't. I never have. But because I gig, like having something that I know I can plop it down. It's gonna do the thing it's gonna do. It's all wired right. I got a great power source. I've got good cables. That's giving me confidence. It gives me anxiety when I see it like a band setting up or breaking down. I look and they're just like all in a pile, and all kinds of different connector cables, and the OCD crumb in me, the little molecule of OCD-ness just goes like when I see that. My bass player. But anyway. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that. I'm investing in a solid foundation.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that wants to gamble,
You're the gambler.
Yeah.
but I've got the better pedals.
Yes, but you'll buy 2 of each.
Yes.
That means you're shallow.
I've got.
Yeah.
I'm shallow Jared with the awesome pedals.
Yeah.
Actually, can I say one more pet peeve?
Yeah.
One more pet peeve.
Absolutely.
My pet peeve is this is the one that gets me every time. People are like, "Oh man, that pedalboard must be like $10,000," and they like hate on it. And then I go on their page and they have like 7 Les Pauls. It's just
Yeah.
why are
Sounds
you
like
mad?
Jared.
Yeah.
Well, I
yeah.
very well could be that guy.
Yeah.
No, I never hate on anybody's gear. I like gear.
No room in the world to be hating on other people's gear. People, come on now.
Exactly.
If you want 7 Les Pauls, you should have them.
Why not? Right?
Right.
And you should have all the pedals you want.
Yeah. If you want 2 Oxes, then you should have them.
And I do.
If you want 3, even better.
Yeah.
I might just do that.
All right. Tony Baloney, we got to thank a few
Yes?
people.
There is a very special group of people at this point in the show that we like to thank for
right.
their support. There are executive producers. Now, you may be wondering, what is an executive producer? And more importantly, how can I become one? Here's what I want you to do. You go over to patreon.com/theguitarknobs.
That's right.
Check it out. There's like a bunch of different levels, at least 3 that I know of, that you can participate in. Each level has its own prize packages and are just our way of saying thanks for supporting the show. There's things like barefoot buttons, T-shirts, stickers,
Keychains.
keychains. I
Picks,
always forget the keychains.
buttons.
Picks, Giveaways? Oh, did I mention the giveaways?
There's a lot of giveaways.
There's lots.
Super awesome giveaways.
Great stuff.
They gave away with the big board, the Pro Roadcaster Pro.
Yeah,
and
that was a big
pedals and
giveaway.
all kinds of stuff.
There's great stuff. And there's more coming.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
But the executive producers level has one thing, just one thing more. And Jared, I can't remember what it is, but I think you know.
Exactly. I know what it is, man. It's you get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So let's thank our executive producers. I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to thank our grand poobahs first.
Great.
Because our grand poobahs are just a little step above the executive producers. We love them all to death, though.
I love you, Grand Poobahs.
So here are our grand poobahs as they exist as of today, and we are accepting more, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. We are accepting more.
Always room for more.
Always room. And there's plenty of fezzes to be had, too. So, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Cody Lane, Cody Foster, Sean S., and Tommy Manasco. A tip of the old fez to our grand poobahs. And we welcome many more to come.
Muchas gracias. Many thanks.
No, but wait.
Duh.
I did want to thank our executive producers, too. These are great people. They help us out. They support the show. I'm going to go from our newest to our most senior. How's that sound?
All right.
Liam Martin from Bigola Guitars down in Australia.
Yep.
You might
Liam.
remember him. Steve Keys, Mark Garton, Adam Johnson, James Pennington, Matt Hart, James White, Brett Alexander, Justin Jones, Doug Gann, Tim Nowak, John Esterly, Chris Heidel, Brad Partridge, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lathrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Ken Sayers, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Chris Carney, John Daly, not Don, John, damn it, John Daly, Martin Cliff, Tom Barazin.
All right. Woohoo! That is such a lovely list. Thank you all so very much, and for all who are donating at other levels as well. We are so appreciative of that. Thank you. Now, Andy Catalano, we want to thank you for creating a channel that we all love, Pedalboard of the Day. And if we can get everybody out there to go check it out and submit lots of barefoot photos to him, that would be great.
Fairy ones.
Just everyone should just tag it. So when you go into the tag section, just people's toes, right?
Yeah,
Just toes.
No, honestly, it's great that you're out there and you're doing it, and we appreciate it. So thank you
Thanks.
so much for being on the show and having fun with us.
Oh, thanks. It was man, I'm a shy guy, so this was tough for me. No, I'm joking. You guys are really great, and it made it very, very, very easy to chat, which is awesome.
Awesome, thank you.
Absolutely.
We're all
It's a good
friends
time.
here.
Tony Baloney, where can people find you?
Let's just say you need a special pickguard for your special guitar. Yeah, I want you to go over to pickguardian.com and check out my wares. There's some things that you can buy right online, including the new line of Reverend replacement guards.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but if there's anything else that you need, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to make some suggestions or put some pricing together for you. If you want to check out some of the projects we talk about from time to time, you can go to my Instagram page, which is pickguardian and the number 1.
Awesome. And maybe you can be the person who comes up with the craziest pick guard Tony's ever had to figure out.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of crazy ones, but
Yeah.
there's room for more.
Room for more. Jared, what about you?
You can find me at brandonwoundpickups.com. Check out what I have going on. I've got a limited run set going on. I've got some noiseless Jazzmaster pickups that really I don't think anybody else are doing them the same way I am. And the good old PAF clones, all sorts of good stuff, good rewinds, and all sorts of cool stuff. So I've got a discount going on, and the code word is HOME. It gets you 15% off.
15% off these radically undersold pickups from Jared. They sound absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You can drop me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com, or a DM on Instagram. We would love to hear what's going on in your personal guitar world, what you think of the show, how you are interacting with any of the other brands or builders that we're doing, and send us your Would You Rathers. They're super fun. We love to hear them.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Andy, thank you again so much. Everyone have an awesome Guitar Weekend. Subscribe!
Yeah.
I should have that as theme music. All
The
right,
alphabet
guys.
is funny.
It is funny. You're funny, Jared.
I know.
Do with that what you will, people.
You got it from-
Just fake it, man. It's all good.
Yeah. Everybody likes a little fried bologna, but, come on.
It's me.
I know. I figured. Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.